Well, welcome everyone. So we're so excited that some of you were able to join us live, and I know that some of you are watching our recording on our YouTube page. So we just want to welcome you to our presentation. We are Suzanne and Steve Clausen. We are the owners of CruiseOne travel agency in Show Low, Arizona. So I have a question for you. What do James Bond, Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Star Trek, and Captain America all have in common? Well, all of these franchises were filmed in Iceland. So not only is this cruise going to have us circumnavigate the island, but we would also encourage you to extend your stay and see some of the other things that you may not be able to see just on a shore excursion. Steve and I visited Iceland twice last year, and then we've been there 3 other times before that. So I know we are so excited about going back because Iceland is absolutely one of our favorite destinations. So here's our agenda for the night. We're going to introduce you to our agency. We'll answer any questions about why Iceland should be on everyone's travel list. And then we're going to talk to you a little bit about what the experience you can expect on a celebrity cruise is like. And then we're going to have our exclusive discounted pricing and webinar offers. And it's going to be a great opportunity for you to save some money and enjoy some extra perks on the cruise. So a little bit about our agency. Steve and I are very passionate travelers, as we're co-owners of our franchise, and we're full-time travel professionals. We don't just plan vacations, we craft what we call extraordinary adventures. Our deep-rooted passion for traveling is built into every experience that we create for our clients. We've been in business for it'll be 13 years this summer. We are definitely explorers at heart. We just love to travel, and we love sharing that love of travel with our clients. And from the moment that we start talking about your vacation together until you get back, we are there to hold your hand through every step and make sure that every aspect of your trip, your cruise, is going to exceed your expectations. Again, we are avid travelers ourselves, and we are very lucky because with the internet being as good as it is now on cruise ships, we can travel and just work from wherever we are in the world. And we use that firsthand knowledge that we have from our own travel experiences to help craft exceptional experiences for all of our clients. And just a couple of advantages of working with my agency. I work on behalf of my clients because without you, I don't have a business. I have a lot of training and experience, and I'm here to guide you with every step of the way, help you make sure you get not only the best price, but also the best value. And I'll tell you, the best cut streak in travel is that you don't pay any more to book through a highly skilled travel professional like me than you would if you just went on the celebrity website and booked it directly there. As a matter of fact, because I have this special group pricing, you're actually going to save money by booking with me and get more value. I'm easily accessible. You can phone me, text me, email me, nearly 24/7. And the best part is that I work for you. I do earn a commission from the cruise line, but that commission's built into the price whether you book it direct and they don't pay it, or whether you book through me. So that's how my business model works. So why are we here tonight? We're so excited to share with you this exciting itinerary. And for years, our agency has had these amazing prices, and we're getting to the end of closing out the group, and we're like, well, how do we let people know about this amazing prices? And this business model that we've had of advertising and then hosting these webinars, it helps people not only to get to know us as an agency, but helps us to share with you what a great value we have with our group pricing. We do plan a lot of groups. We do wine groups, we do friends and family groups, we do escorted groups like this one. And we love sailing with our groups. And we make sure that we are there the whole way to make sure that all of your experiences are exceeding expectations. So now let's talk about Iceland, which is probably why you all came here, because Iceland is home to some of the world's most spectacular scenery and it's one of the most unique cultures in the world. And there's a reason that I had that slide up at the beginning where Hollywood discovered Iceland as a great filming location. It's because it has so much natural beauty. And unlike many European destinations that are kind of fighting that over tourism and saying tourists are not welcome, Iceland has really embraced it with open arms, and their people, all people from all walks of life are leaving other businesses to start something in the tourism industry. In 2023, 2.2 million people visited Iceland, and it's a country with a native population of just 400,000 people. Reykjavik is the capital of Iceland, and it is a world-class metropolitan area. It's home to most of the people that live in Iceland. 228,000 people live in Reykjavik. And despite that being the small size for a world capital, it has some beautiful venues like this beautiful concert hall that was just opened recently in downtown. And it's also known, again, for its natural beauty. These are some of the beautiful waterfalls in Iceland. Iceland also has a very unique breed of horse. It's called Icelandic horse. They're smaller because they were the horses that were brought over when the first pioneers came over to Iceland to start their civilizations. And that was around the year 870 to 930. So all of these horses are descended of those horses. And what makes them so unique is they have 5 gates where most horses just have 3. So if you have a chance to do a tour that visits a horse farm, that's something very interesting to do. And they'll do a demonstration of the horse gates. Oh, and did I mention that there are lots of beautiful waterfalls in Iceland? One of the best things is to go take a tour that's going to take you to some of these. Country living. If you want, you can do an excursion that does this or extend your stay and have a chance to include some time out in the countryside. On our recent trip, we visited a sheep and horse farm. And then we got to also meet the owner and her horses and her unique Icelandic sheepdog. There's also, again, those volcanic, otherworldly landscapes. That's another great reason to visit Iceland. And this is a place we visited at Reykjavik's Peninsula Tour. And it is the filming location of the Volcano Man video, which is from the movie Eurovision, the story of Fire Saga, which is about an Icelandic music group that went to the Eurovision contest. And apparently was a pretty big hit with the Icelanders. They found it very funny. And it's a cute little movie about this little couple that go to Eurovision, and they filmed their video here. There's also waterfalls. These are some of the waterfalls that are on the South Coast tour. Beautiful, beautiful. Whale watching is another great thing to do in Iceland, and you can do it from several ports and also from the town of Reykjavik. This is the waterfall in Seyðisfjord. Again, beautiful waterfalls all over Iceland. And it's also the land of ice and fire. There are black sand beaches, 32 active volcanoes, and plenty of hot springs and thermal bathing opportunities. I want to tell people, don't worry too much about the volcanoes because they're mostly very gentle fissure eruptions that are very slow, not threatening. They have very little impact on tourism. And there are even some tours that can take you to safely view the area where the volcanoes are erupting. So that's something, if that's something you always wanted to see, that might be something you look into it if the volcano is active when we are there. You may remember this volcano that put Iceland on the map. It's the one that erupted and grounded a bunch of planes in Europe because of the big plume of ash. And our tour guide, he stopped us here. He said, I want you to learn to say this. And I'm going to attempt to say it now. It's Eyja Jökull. That's the name of the volcano that's very famous that had the big ash explosion. And also the volcanic activity makes one of the most reliable geysers in the world. This one is on the Golden Circle tour. It goes off about every 8 to 12 minutes. It's also the land of ice. Many parts of Iceland are covered with glaciers, and there are many activities and tours that you can do to view or even hike on a glacier. Oh, and there's waterfalls. Did I mention the waterfalls? Yet another set of waterfalls that you could go visit. And again, spectacular scenery where the 2 plates, because the 2 tectonic plates in Iceland, They are splitting apart from North America and Europe. And these fissures create these beautiful, very dramatic landscapes. And here's another waterfall. This is the Golden Falls that is the star of the Golden Circle Tour. There's a very rich culture and history, and their civilization in Iceland actually dates back to the first millennia. The Norse that settled there were the very first people to come to Iceland. It was not inhabited before they were there. There's a national museum that has some of the historic artwork and carvings, and also the what am I trying to say? The National Museum has the history and the conversion to Christianity, and some of the architecture from the 20th century, like this, their national cathedral that's in downtown Reykjavik. And waterfalls. There's more waterfalls. So if you are interested in joining us, this is our itinerary. It has 2 fun days at sea, but when we visit 3 different ports on the island, and we overnight in Reykjavik. So that's one of the amazing things that we're going to do there. And why is a cruise one of the best ways to see Iceland? Well, all your meals and lodging and entertainment and enrichment are included in the price of your cruise. You've got amazing onboard service and atmosphere. In 7 days, we're gonna circumnavigate the island and see some of the most important ports. And doing Iceland as a vacation, if you do it by land, it can be expensive. Gasoline is $9 a gallon. Meals, even simple meals, can run from $40 to $60 a person. So seeing Iceland by a cruise ship is going to be about half the price of a land-based trip to Iceland. So let's talk about the ports. So we start and end our cruise in Reykjavik, and this is the first permanent settlement in Iceland. The name mostly means Smoky Cove, and it was because of the steam rising out of the steam vents in the area from the volcanic activity. And it also was a city that hosted one of the transformational summits between President Reagan and President Gorbachev. So it helped in that part of the Cold War. And it's also the center of culture and art and history. And again, this is where some of the most important museums is in Reykjavik, and it's the gateway to that Golden Circle Tour. So these are just some pictures that I've taken from the last couple of times I visited. I do recommend flying in at least 1 day early, so you're at least in Reykjavik before the port, for 1 day before you embark on your cruise, because you don't want to be late and try to catch up to the ship. And you might even want to come early or stay post-cruise. Most of the people in our group are staying at least 1 or 2, or maybe even 3 days post-cruise. And so I'll have more details about that later. So our first port that we're going to visit is Seyðisfjörður. And it is a lovely small town on the eastern fjords of Iceland. Here's a look at the waterfall that you can hike up to. We hiked up. It is a vigorous hike up a hill outside of town to see it, but well worth it once you get there. And of course, the downtown is famous for the beautiful church and the Rainbow Road. It's a beautiful little town. And again, we hiked up to this waterfall. There's a marked trail on one side of the creek, and then we just walked up the road because we wanted to have more even ground. And I have not seen a celebrity tour that goes up here. There's some tourists that are probably going to go by it, maybe stop at the viewing area. And I can't see where there's a shuttle, so I'm pretty sure the best way to reach this waterfall is going to be to take that hike up the hill. What we didn't realize is that just up the hill a little further are 2 more scenic waterfalls. So if you can figure out a way to either do an all-day hike or just maybe get some transportation from town that would stop at these, you would be able to see those others. Our next port that we're going to visit is Akureyri, and it's nicknamed the northern capital of Iceland. It was first settled in the 9th century. And despite it being so far north, because it's close to the Arctic Circle, its harbor is generally free of ice year-round due to its geographic position and the way the Gulf Stream works. It has a population of about 18,000 people. fishing is the main industry. And in the northern part of Iceland, the folk culture is a little bit more prominent and more leaned into and sort of represented in their decorations and their traditions. So here's a couple more pictures that I took from one of my recent trips to Akureyri. And then you see that troll doll. And again, that's all part of that folk culture. And there's also some good whale watching in this area. Now, just outside of Akureyri, excuse me, is this area, which is, you can take that on a celebrity shore excursion. You can visit Dimmergeberg, and I know I'm not saying that right, but that you can see that over here with these just really interesting volcanic formations. And then you can go to the Godafoss waterfalls, which got its name because supposedly when Iceland converted from paganism to Christianity, the tribal leaders threw the wooden statues of the pagan gods over the waterfall. Whether that's true or not, we're not really sure, but that's at least the legend. And then there's also some like volcanic mud pits and some different interesting areas that you can see. There is a nature bath. It's kind of like the Blue Lagoon, but it's near Akureyri. There is this cave that was the inspiration for the cave that Jon Snow and Ygritte had their love scene in Game of Thrones, if you've ever watched that. Anyway, that kind of gives you an idea. This is where Akureyri is, and all of the other things are kind of out and about. I have another map that kind of shows it a little better. This is the Godafoss Falls. If you're going to do one thing in Akureyri, this would be the thing that you don't want to miss. It's about 35 minutes from town. There are shuttles that you can take from town just getting off the ship. You can pre-book something that's going to take you there. And Celebrity has some short excursions that include this. And some other stuff. And when you look at all the inclusions, it's pretty reasonably priced. But if you just want to see the waterfall, there's some less expensive ways to do it. So the least expensive way to do it is to take the number 79 bus from town to the waterfall. It drops you off at the visitor center and then it picks you up. And there's an app that has the bus schedule, so you'll be sure not to miss it. There's some tours through Viator that will pick you up at the pier about 2.5 hours and take you to the waterfalls. Quite a bit less expensive than what's available on the Celebrity website. And then Celebrity does have a really good one that you can book all day, and it visits Lake Mivisan. Other attractions in the area, there's the Forest Lagoon, which was built when they were digging the tunnel through the mountain that goes up to the waterfall. They hit a steam vent, a hot water stream, and they figured out a way to build this lagoon and divert some of that hot water into this lagoon so that people can have a luxurious warm bath bathing experience. But all of Iceland has a lot of really cheap hot water. That's kind of how they do everything. And every single town in Iceland has these outdoor heated pools, and people go to them year round and enjoy the warm waters of the pool. There's a botanical garden in town. These are my pictures I took the last time I was there. It is completely free, and you can walk through it and see. This is one of the most northernmost botanical gardens in the world, and it has beautiful flowers that grow during the summer. So here's some examples of the Celebrity excursion. And the one that I would recommend, and hopefully you'd be able to get it with the 10% off when they run a special. They usually run these specials around holidays or some special day. They might have one around Memorial Day if they need to still promote and sell some of these excursions. But this one is the one that's going to take you out to the Godafoss Falls, the Lake Mivitan area. You're going to see those volcanic formations. So this would be a really nice one to take. If for some reason it's sold out, I can help you find one on Viator that will be less expensive and include most of the highlights that you want to see. So here's a look at where everything is. This is kind of why you need an excursion if you're going to do anything other than go to the city pool or see the botanical gardens, because you have to go through the mountain tunnel, and this is where the waterfall is, and then this is where those other scenic attractions are. So it gives you an idea where things are. And Húsavík, you can take a city bus out or to Húsavík if you wanted to see that town. Our next port that we're going to visit is Ísafjörður. And it is one of the most popular cruise ports in Iceland, and they have a variety of sites and things that you can see there. This just gives you an idea of some of the beautiful scenery in that area. Now, it was a little surprising. The excursions that Celebrity was offering from this port were full day. They must include meals because they're pretty pricey. And so I thought, well, what else, what else can I book? And then I went on Viator. We booked this tour. It's 3.5 hours long. We booked the 11 o'clock tour. We're gonna be home back on the ship by 3 o'clock, and the ship doesn't depart until 7 p.m. So we're giving ourselves plenty of time to see those ports. And then let's see. And then scenic sailing out of Isafjord. When we leave that night, it's a beautiful area to just sit out on the deck or maybe on your balcony and take a look at the scenery. All right, and now we're looking at coming back to Reykjavik. So I highly recommend the Golden Circle tour. We do have a private one that we have sold out, but I can either put you on a waiting list for that tour or find a comparable tour for you, but with one of our trusted shore excursion providers. And what are you going to see in the Golden Circle tour? Well, it's amazing. You see the Thingvellir National Park, which is where the plates are splitting apart. You're going to see the Gullfoss, which is that diagonal shaped waterfall that's up there. And you're going to be able to drive from the Europe plate to the North American plate. But maybe you don't want to do the Golden Circle tour. You might want to go for a visit to the Blue Lagoon, or go see the Reykjanes Peninsula, or do a South Coast tour. Or if you stay a couple days, you could do 2 of those. And so there's definitely something that I can, if you show me a site you want to see in Iceland, like you're like, Suzanne, I want to go see that waterfall that you walk under, I'm going to help you find that South Coast tour that's going to include that. It's really beautiful, and it gets you out in the countryside, and you get to see all the different landscapes in Iceland. Now, whale watching is also a popular activity near Reykjavik. And we enjoyed a whale watching tour where we saw dozens of minkies and a couple of humpback whales. And these are pictures that are actually taken on our whale watching tour when we were there. You can also do whale watching from some of the other ports as well. The food scene in Reykjavik is pretty up and coming. As you can see from the signs, English is widely spoken in Iceland because they rely so much on tourism, and people from all over the world for whom English is an international language. If you're coming from Japan, you're probably going to speak English. If you're coming from France, you're probably going to speak some English. So Icelanders are pretty much fluent in English. They watch English television shows in English. And so getting around is very easy in Iceland, but your meals are going to be expensive if you're going to eat off the ship. A simple meal like fish and chips and a beer is probably going to run you about $40 a person. However, if you want to upgrade to something a little bit more gourmet, maybe $20 more, maybe $40 more, and you get an amazing gourmet dining experience. So, just make sure you budget for your food in Iceland, but the food is absolutely wonderful. And there's lots of architecture and culture in downtown Reykjavik. Again, these are some pictures I took on one of my recent trips. The cathedral that is built in downtown, it is supposed to sort of this architectural style is supposed to represent the basalt columns that you see naturally occurring from what am I trying to say? From volcanic eruptions. Okay, the Blue Lagoon. So I will tell you that there has been some interruption in the Blue Lagoon because of its proximity to the current erupting volcano, but don't worry, it's been open most of the time. And if you can't get in the Blue Lagoon because of some issues, there's other warm water bathing experiences that you can do. You can go to the Sky Lagoon, you can go to the Secret Lagoon. We'll make sure we get you someplace where you're going to have that experience. And the conditions are supposed to be very healing in these pools, supposed to relieve eczema and psoriasis and things like that. And again, minimal disruption due to the volcanic activity there. But if you want an inexpensive alternative to the Blue Lagoon, go to the Reykjavik City Pool. It's heated, and nearly every town in Iceland has a heated pool. So this is a photo from Visit Reykjavik. You can go there and learn more about visiting Iceland. So here's a map of some of the stuff I just covered. This is, whale watching in Reykjavik. There's museums. There's museums here. This is where Thingvellir is, the geyser, the Golden Circle. So you can see that this is an all-day tour if you do this. They usually take you around this way, and you see some absolutely beautiful things while you're on that tour. If you want to do the Blue Lagoon, there's where it is. That's also nearby where the erupting volcano is, which may or may not, it's not constantly erupting, but it may be something you want to go see. But if you want to really see some really incredible waterfalls, I do recommend the South Coast tour. And again, these would be booked pre or post cruise. That's why I'm suggesting that you stay. And I can help you find it. I have an email that I sent out to everybody that's already booked that has some links to some suggested tours on Viator. So some great things to do. You could rent a car if you wanted to be on your own, but just keep in mind that you're going to have the expense of gas at $9 a gallon. Here's a look at Vik. That's the furthest city that you go to on the South Coast tour. And then here's a map that kind of shows you where it is. Now, Reykjavik is way up here. So you can see that this ends up being an all-day tour. They stop several times, and you get ample time in each of these places. These are 3 of the different waterfalls that you see. There's Vik, and from one side and then from the other. If you want to go to the Westman Islands, that's where the puffins are. That's a great place to see puffins. You can also see puffins in Reykjavik as well. But I want to let you know that that this is an all-day tour. It's about 8 hours, but you're not on the bus for 8 hours. You're maybe on the bus for an hour, and then you stop for a while, and then another hour. So it's not a really long time just sitting on a bus. While you're on the bus anyway, the scenery is beautiful. And a lot of people ask me, is it going to be possible to see the Northern Lights? Well, summer is not really the time to see Northern Lights because you need a dark sky. And in August, there's still about 16 hours of daylight. So in the winter time, that's the closest you can come to guaranteeing yourself to see it. But even folks who visit in the winter, if they're there for a whole week and it's cloudy and snowy, you're not going to see the Northern Lights because you have to have that clear, dark night sky. And this is another question people ask me is how do I dress for Iceland? So this was on a cool rainy day. So you don't really need to dress much more than this. A cool rainy day, we're talking maybe it was 40 degrees and rainy and windy. So I was glad that I had on a double layer jacket. I think I had a sweatshirt underneath that. I had on waterproof pants and waterproof boots. I was the one who went back into that stream where you see that lady on the rock in the waterfall. And I had to walk through a couple inches of water. I mean, like this much, but if I had had just regular tennis shoes, my feet would have gotten soaking wet. So waterproof boots in certain circumstances are a big help. I always recommend a hat, a nice pair of waterproof gloves, and a scarf. That can make a big difference. Even on a sunny day, you might want the hat and the gloves and the scarf and ditch the big coat and the waterproof pants. But you don't have to go out and buy special equipment. The waterproof pants are a suggestion, but certainly not a requirement. They just make you more comfortable if it's a rainy day and you want to be out enjoying nature. So here's, again, a look at that itinerary again. Again, it's round trip Reykjavik. I do recommend coming in on the day before. So you're going to arrive July, let's see, they're 30 days in July 30th. And then if you can stay a couple days in Reykjavik, maybe fly home on Sunday the 10th, and then you can be back at work on Monday, and you only have to take like 7 days off work. So very nice itinerary. Now we're going to talk about Celebrity. And why did I choose to partner with Celebrity? Because I work with all the cruise lines. Why did I choose Celebrity for this? So Celebrity just offers a really elevated experience overall. They're just, I think, the best of the premium lines. Their new catchphrase is "You'll never want to vacation any other way." And there's just, with so many things that Celebrity has to offer, I do feel that way. They're a great cruise line. They are an award-winning cruise line. They have several of their ships which have been rated by Forge Travel and are considered 4-star resorts at sea. So award-winning cruise line. And who is the best person to travel with celebrity? Well, if you love food, if you love about learning different cultures, if you sometimes want to be that person that goes out on your own, I can help you set you up on that first day in Arabia. I can put you on that 79 bus. So somebody that was a maverick wants to get out there and do things on their own or go hiking, up the side of the hill, whatever it is you want to do, I can help make sure that happens. And then the indulgence seeker, because celebrity does pamper you a whole awful lot. Their service is great. Their food is great. They have, wonderful spas, and the onboard atmosphere is just really beautiful. So, what matters most to the celebrity guest is going to be the destination. You don't have much better destination than Iceland. And then also the culinary experience on board. That's important to their guests. They want service, they want details, and they want lots of shows and activities, but also that quiet place where they can just restore. And Celebrity offers you that opportunity to either explore or restore during your vacation. They have 4 classes of ships. They have the Edge class, which is their newest, biggest class of ship. And then they have the Solstice class, which is what we're going to be sailing on. They also have the little bit smaller Millennium class, and they have actually just down to one ship that sails Galapagos. It is a 100 passenger all suite ship that does Galapagos. Okay, and now this is just a nice slide that kind of sums up the celebrity experience. It's having fun with your friends, it's exploring the destination, it's enjoying the onboard atmosphere, and there's really no limit to the things you can do, but also the places to relax and do nothing. So here's some of the activities that they have. This is pictures of my sister, my daughter, and 2 of my good friends at the silent disco on the Silhouette a couple years ago, which is so much fun. You put on these silly headphones and they play different songs on different channels. It's a lot of fun. But they have trivia, they have the safe archery program, they have Liars Club, which is usually hysterical. ABBA night and Queen night. There's so many fun things to do on a celebrity cruise. And they have world-class entertainment. They have these wonderful aerialists and gymnasts. And then they have these little, I call them like jukebox musicals, where they take a bunch of songs and kind of tell a simple story. It's kind of like a Vegas show, but it usually has a little bit of a theme. And then in some destinations, they do bring on local folkloric entertainment. Don't know if Iceland's one of them, but lots of times they will bring on internationally acclaimed musical acts that will come and play piano, the violin, everything. And then I mentioned the gourmet dining experience. The food is just so good on Celebrity. And you've got fine dining in the main dining room, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it's only open for lunch on the sea days. Then they have the quick service venue, which is the Ocean View Cafe. That's 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. every day. They've almost always got, at least a snack or something out for you to eat. And the waiters, the sommeliers, they are all wonderful on Celebrity and are so dedicated to their profession and making your experience just completely exceed your expectations. They also have this wonderful fun martini bar. It's a hopping spot for mixed drinks. And of course, they have a lot of famous flair bartenders. And this guy at one time held the record for the most simultaneously poured drinks. I always say that Tom Cruise and Cocktail doesn't have nothing on this guy. They also have wonderful specialty dining venues. Now, I like to say on Celebrity, you can get a really good meal on any of their cruises without having to pay extra for the specialty dining. But if you do want to give yourself a special treat, it can be a wonderful experience on this ship. We had a great experience with a very good friend. He wanted to try them all, and he said he was treated. I was like, oh, sure, we'll try them all. And it was a wonderful experience doing the specialty dining. So there's our ship. It's the Celebrity Silhouette, and it is a beautiful ship. It was revolutionized in 2020, so it got a complete makeover in 2020. It's a little bit older ship, but she's not showing her age. There's what the standard concierge class, standard balcony, and aqua class rooms look like. They're spacious 194 square feet with 54 square foot balconies. So they're all, any of the rooms in that those categories are all identical. It just is location on the ship. And then this is what the ocean view cabins on the ship look like. They're very nice. And uh, they do have interior cabins. I was sold out of interior cabins in my group. So the ones I have at the great group rates are going to just be the balconies and the ocean view. There are some suites on this ship. If you want to have a bigger room, this is the starting category of suite. This is a sky suite. I can certainly, look at pricing for you and see if a suite is available. So now the part you've been waiting for, and this is the best part, is our group rates. We have got amazing savings with our group rates, and they include the classic beverage package and the surf Wi-Fi package. They include a refundable deposit, which I don't know how important that is right now because we're coming up on final payment the first week of May. But for people who booked a year ago and wanted to have flexibility, that was important. And it's just a better overall value than Celebrity's individual rates. Celebrity has so many rate codes. You do need a degree to figure out how to book them. And luckily, I am a master cruise counselor, elite cruise counselor. I am here to help. I'm here to help with this. But literally, these are all the different rate codes that they have. And it can be very confusing what category is going to be the best for me to book in and what rate code. So I've got a chart coming up in a minute, and it shows you absolutely what the best value is. Now, our group rates are going to expire on April 17th. They have this special where you save $200 off of those group rates, but we got to get you booked by Monday. If you want to have that extra $100 savings, we got to get you booked by Monday. And I'm going to show you a chart where it'll show you what a great value it is. Okay, so I know this is an eye chart, but I've highlighted the double occupancy per person rates in each category in the orange. That's here in the orange, okay? And then I've put in all the other rate codes. So they do have a no perk, non-refundable deposit rate. And you can see that it's a little bit lower than our rate that already includes the drinks and the Wi-Fi. But when you do the comparison, it's like as little as $116 per person to include your drinks and Wi-Fi. That's kind of a no-brainer unless you don't drink anything but water or tap water or regular coffee, because the beverage package includes diet drinks. It includes non-alcoholic drinks. It includes sparkling water. It includes specialty coffees and teas. And then, of course, it includes your alcoholic beverages if you do drink alcohol, beer, wine, mixed drinks, up to $10 per serving is included with our group rate. So, I mean, you can see if you had one non-alcoholic drink a day and needed Wi-Fi, you're much better off with our rates than going with the no perk rate. But, I can sell you that rate. I just feel like the value is much better. And this is what the 2 perk non-refundable deposit rate is. You can see that is a lot higher than our 2 perk group rate. And then if you make it the refundable deposit, which our group rate has, that's where you get this huge savings. This is a comparison of this rate to our rate. So we locked in these prices a year and a half ago when this cruise was first released. So that is why our prices are so dramatically lower than what you can book right now with Celebrity Direct. So this is our last chance. They're taking our allocation away on April 17th. So you got to get booked by then. Okay. And then we have an exclusive offer for people attending this webinar. You got to book by April 16th, but we're going to give you a $200 onboard credit per cabin for the balcony and higher categories. So that's great balcony, concierge class. If you end up booking a suite, if there's one available, you would get that in addition. If you book the ocean view category that we have in our group, you're going to get a $50 onboard credit. So just wanted to let you know that that's an exclusive offer for people attending the webinar live or who watch the recording and get you booked by the 16th. So kind of give you a summary. We're going to catch our breath and get all collected. We're going to work with you to make sure that we have the rate that works best for you and the category of cabin. So we've got those discounted group rates. You're going to get all my experience and my concierge level service to help you with every aspect of planning this cruise. You're going to get my expert guidance on shore excursions, and I'll help make sure that we get all your flights booked through Flights by Celebrity, or I can advise you where you can book it directly on your own. And Steve and I are going to be on board. We're going to make sure that through the whole experience, everything is exceeding your expectations. And we also have that webinar onboard credit up to $200 if you book by the 16th. So I want to tell you a little bit about the Flights by Celebrity program. Now we're pretty close to final payments. The book now, pay later is not quite as important, but you can add the flights as soon as we get you booked, and then the first week of May when we do final payment, last week of April, you would pay for the flights then. You can cancel with no penalties up until that time. After you've paid for them and the tickets issue, it's only a $200 per person cancellation fee if you need to cancel your flights. You select with a Flights by Celebrity program, you're in complete control of which airline you're flying with and the price that coordinates with that. So you can select, okay, I'd rather pay a little more to fly on this airline than the cheapest one because I'm more familiar with this airline, or this is the one I get my loyalty points. You do earn your loyalty points with your favorite airline, and you can book the class of service that works best for you: economy, premium economy, business class, and Celebrity offers a guaranteed arrival. So if you're on your plane, it's getting ready to take off, and then they say, "Oh, sorry, we're canceling the flight. You won't be able to go for 2 more days," and you were going to miss the embarkation date. You call Celebrity's 24/7 emergency number, and they're going to get you booked on a flight that'll get you there. If for some reason they can't get you there in time, they will do the logistics of getting you caught up to the ship. So that's important that they take care of all that for you. You would have to get all the way from Reykjavik to Sandisafjordur, and they would take care of making sure that they give you transfers and get you out there. Okay, so they're available now. If you live in one of these gateway cities, you can take a nonstop flight on Iceland Air from any of these places into Reykjavik. So that's a great way to do it. You don't have to go to Europe and then make a connection. Other gateways are available with their partner airlines. In the West Coast, it's Alaska Airlines, and in the East Coast, it's JetBlue. And so they'll get you from another gateway to one of these gateways, and then you fly directly from there. They start about $1,000, somewhere a little bit less, depending on the gateway. And there are other American-based suppliers like American, Delta, United. They usually go through London or Canada. I think Delta might have one that goes from a North American city straight to Reykjavik too. So those are options as well. I always like to include what our other group cruises are that we're working on right now, just so people know what we're doing in the coming years and the other cruise lines that we work hand in hand with. So we do river cruises. We have got an escorted river cruise in 2025 in Bordeaux. And then we're also following that with a Danube cruise that is going to be with a winemaker who is from Southern Arizona. His winery is located here. He makes really high quality award-winning wines, and he will be on board to do wine classes and wine presentations for our group. We're having some webinars for those coming up in April. And then we also have a river cruise on Avalon, doing the Romantic Rhine with the extension to Lucerne and Lake Como, a webinar on April 30th. We have got a 28-night Holland America cruise going to Alaska with exclusive perks and savings. We've got June of 2025. I think there might still be a little availability on that. And then we have one that I believe is June 7th of 2026. We've got, again, exclusive perks and pricing. If you want to go to Antarctica, if that is on your bucket list, we have 2 ways that you can do it in 2026. A 14-night scenic sailing only cruise on Celebrity. These are some pictures I took from when I was there before. And then we are doing an expedition group. I will have to check and see if that pricing is still available. So basically, I'm going to say call for pricing, but it is a 100-passenger ship that's going to go to Antarctica, and you're going to land and walk around amongst the penguins and the glaciers and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be an incredible adventure. We're doing a Baltic Capitals cruise, and that is May 10th of 2026. We do have a webinar coming up on that. So if you're interested, let us know, and we'll make sure that we get you signed up for that webinar. We also have a couple of solar eclipse cruises. I still have good availability, I think, on all three of these. These are longer ones on Holland America. And then if you want to do a short one, I still have good availability. That's the total price for two. There's a lot of demand for this cruise. It's a 14-night one, and they are going to be on August 12th, they will be in the path of totality for the solar eclipse. So great, incredible experience. And again, if you would book another celebrity cruise by that deadline, any of these, you would get that $200 onboard credit as long as it's celebrity, because we're partnering with them for this webinar. We have got in October of 2026, we've also got two small ship cruise experiences, a 300-passenger Windstar on October 19th. It's going to go Istanbul to Athens. You can get off that ship, spend about 4 days in Athens, and then get on this Azamar cruise. We are escorting both of these. And of course, I would be there to help you with your hotel stay and your excursions while you're in Greece as well. Check out our groups. We are part of one of the we are part of the #1 retailer of cruises in North America, which is our parent company, World Travel Holdings. We own our own franchise, and we're in the CruiseOne Dream Vacations division. They literally give us lots and lots of cabins. These are some of our personal groups that you'll find on our website. And then if you don't find anything there that you like, give me a call. We have tons and tons of block space in that national headquarters group space, which gives us access to discounted pricing that you can't get anywhere else. And that applies not only to Celebrity, but many of the cruise lines. So in summary, we want you to book now for big savings and our exclusive rates. You must be booked by April 16th because those group rates are going to be recalled. I still have a nice allotment of cabins, so you have some choices. I could book 8 people here from this webinar with 8 cabins, and I don't think that's going to deplete my whole inventory. So I am looking very much forward to talking with you and getting you booked. Got to get you booked by Monday to get that extra savings, and then the 16th to get the group rates. And
Suzanne, about how many people we have booked into the groups already?
We have 36 people in the group.
Okay.
30, maybe, yeah, I think it's 36, but we have like 40 cabins because a couple of people are traveling solo. So it's going to be a nice group. And I always say this about my groups: you can do as much or as little with a group as you want. There's no obligation to show up at group meetings or activities or anything. We've just got you a great price, and we're going to be there to help. So we'll let you know where we'll be at certain times of the day. You can come sit with us, ask a question. But like I said, you don't have to do anything with a group if you just want to hang out with your significant other or read a book or whatever. We are very flexible. There's nothing required. There's nothing required to be done on the ship as part of the group. You can dine by yourself or dine with a group, for example. So that's our summary of these special offers. It's really incredible, and I'm very excited that we had this chance to share this with everybody. I'm going to open it up to questions. You need to call me to get a full quote, get a room on hold. I can hold it for I'll be open tomorrow and Sunday. You can call me Monday. You can call me tonight if you're ready to go, and I'll get you booked in a cabin unless you review it and take a look at it.
So if you do want to ask a question, you'll need to unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself if you have any questions. And here's all our contact information. It's up on the screen. I'll leave it up there in case anybody wants to take a screenshot of it or take a picture with your phone. It's my email, my toll-free phone number, my website where you can find all those group pages. We have our YouTube page. We put all of our webinars up on YouTube. So if you want to go back and look at some other webinars that we did, they're recorded and posted there. And then we are on Facebook, and we always post pictures of our travels and our adventures on Facebook. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll close out the presentation unless anybody has a couple of questions. And I'm looking. Okay, I don't see anything in Messenger. All right, let's go ahead and end the recording, Steve.